Hidden beneath the sacred soil of India lies a genetic riddle that defies everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. For centuries, whispers echoed through temples and mountains, tales of beings not entirely human, of bloodlines said to descend from the stars. These weren't just myths. They were warnings. In remote villages, entire communities share DNA patterns found nowhere else on Earth. Secluded, untouched, forbidden. When modern scientists attempted to study them, access was suddenly restricted. Government permissions were denied. Files disappeared. And those who got too close were silenced. But now, after decades in the shadows, new genetic data has emerged, leaked from deep inside a classified archive. What it reveals could shatter history books, rewrite human ancestry, and expose a truth hidden for millennia. Is it possible that an ancient Indian civilization carried genetic traits far beyond the limits of known human evolution? And if so, who or what gave it to them? India, a land of myth and mathematics, of sacred texts and celestial architecture. But hidden within its ancient epics, the Vedas, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, are strange descriptions that have baffled historians for centuries. Beings with glowing skin, weapons of unimaginable power, flying machines, the Vimanas, soaring across the sky. For years, these accounts were dismissed as symbolic. But something changed in 1992. During a routine population genetics survey in the tribal regions of Andhra Pradesh, researchers found an anomaly. A group of villagers carried mitochondrial DNA that didn't match any known ethnic group in Asia or the world. Even more perplexing, their oral traditions spoke of a sky origin. Similar findings began emerging in Tamil Nadu, Orissa, and parts of the Himalayas. Patterns that pointed to an ancient population with genetic markers unrelated to Dravidian or Indo-Aryan lines. The scale of the mystery grew. Was this an isolated mutation, or evidence of an entire lost genetic lineage that once thrived in India? It began not in a lab, but deep inside a cave. In 2006, a team of local archaeologists exploring the Babhania cave in central India stumbled upon skeletal remains sealed behind a wall of petrified sediment. At first, they believed it to be a burial site from the early Iron Age, but carbon dating told a different story. The bones were over 12,000 years old, far older than any known civilization in the region. Even stranger was the condition of the skulls. They had elongated craniums, with cranial volumes exceeding those of modern Homo sapiens. The find sparked immediate interest and controversy. Geneticists from Delhi University managed to extract mitochondrial DNA from one of the better-preserved femurs. The results? A haplogroup never before documented in South Asia, or anywhere. The data was quietly sent to a secure lab in Switzerland for further analysis. What they found would change everything. But before the truth could be shared, the cave was abruptly closed. For preservation purposes, officials claimed. Yet those who had seen the remains were no longer convinced this was just about archaeology. Behind closed doors and encrypted channels, a select group of scientists began what would become the most secretive genetic study in modern Indian history. Leading the team was Dr. Arjun Mehta, a renowned geneticist with a background in paleogenomics and ancestral mapping. Using next-generation sequencing, his team compared the mysterious DNA to global databases, from Siberian Denisovans to Neanderthal remnants in Europe. The results were stunning. The genome showed no alignment with any known archaic human species. It wasn't Neanderthal. It wasn't Denisovan. It was something else, a branch that diverged over 150,000 years ago, and survived. But how? And more importantly, where had they gone? To protect the study from political and religious backlash, the data was coded and relocated to a private facility in Zurich. Meanwhile, in India, researchers attempting to revisit the cave found it guarded by paramilitary forces. Access denied. Dr. Mehta began receiving anonymous threats. His funding was pulled. Other members of the team disappeared from public life. The deeper they dug, the more dangerous the truth became. What was hidden in that ancient bloodline that terrified so many? Inside the cold chambers of the Zurich lab, the final sequencing was complete. After months of analysis, the data was cross-referenced against every existing human genome project. The verdict was undeniable. The DNA carried a series of unique alleles, not only unknown to modern humans, but functionally superior in cellular repair, oxygen absorption, and cognitive capacity. One gene, in particular, labeled SRX9, showed neural plasticity levels theorized only in artificial intelligence models. This wasn't just an ancient genome, it was a blueprint for enhanced biology. The implications were staggering. Was this evidence of a forgotten species? A genetically advanced branch of humanity? Or were these traits introduced, artificially, by an external force? Theories flooded in. Some pointed to the Vedic texts describing gods from the sky who seeded mankind. Others feared a Pandora's box, that this DNA was not from Earth at all. When a classified document leaked suggesting the genome was partially synthetic, the Indian government issued a total information blackout. But it was too late. The scientific community had seen enough. The truth was no longer buried. It had awakened. Picture this. 12,000 years ago, as ice sheets receded and oceans shifted, an isolated civilization thrived in what is now the Indian subcontinent. Not nomads, not hunter-gatherers, but a structured society, technologically and genetically advanced, long before Sumer or Egypt. They spoke a language lost to time, worshipped celestial bodies, and mapped the stars with eerie precision. Their knowledge, passed through generations, was encoded not in books, but in their very blood. Then came the collapse, perhaps a climate catastrophe, perhaps a war, hinted at in the Mahabharata's descriptions of weapons that turned night into day. The survivors, knowing extinction was imminent, sought refuge in mountains and forests, their DNA scattered across remote tribes. Stories became myths, myths became scripture, and the genetic lineage, diluted but dormant, endured. Thousands of years later, fragments of this legacy would surface in the unlikeliest of places. A child with unusual cognitive abilities in Odisha, a Himalayan monk who could hold his breath for hours. Each a whisper of the forgotten origin. We aren't just uncovering history, we're resurrecting it. What began as a forgotten burial site has become one of the most profound genetic enigmas in human history. A hidden branch of evolution, or a legacy seeded by something not entirely human? The implications stretch far beyond India's borders. If such a civilization truly existed, genetically superior, technologically ahead of its time, then everything we understand about human progress must be re-evaluated. Who else might carry fragments of this ancient code? What other myths are actually echoes of truth? And most importantly, why has this story been buried for so long? As governments tighten their grip on archaeological access and scientific voices are silenced, the question remains, what are they trying to protect or prevent us from discovering? Perhaps the answers lie not in the past, but in our own DNA. The secrets of humanity's origin may be locked within us, waiting to be awakened. So if you found this revelation as shocking as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore our other episodes diving deep into the forbidden truths of ancient civilizations. Because this is only the beginning.